Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Having said that, I will pass it over to Councillor Tucky. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next thing on order here, delegations, seeing none. Declaration of financial interest, seeing none. Continue on. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I move the agenda be adopted as presented.
I'll second that.
Any questions or concern arising from the minutes? Seeing none, we'll move on. Minutes from the Corporate Services Standing Committee, minutes of May 7th, 2024 were reviewed and adopted at the regular meeting of council on May 21st, 2024. We've all had time to go over our vision and values, strategic plans, and governance. Infrastructure?
So, I mean, you'll get more of an update at the municipal services meeting, but we're continuing to work away on our capital infrastructure projects. So the raw water intake, the lagoon, our Conabear Park, these are all continuing on. So there'll be a more robust update at the municipal services because there'll be a few items to bring, but just those ongoing projects are still ongoing as we work through each of those. So there is, and there'll also be one for the landfill, and I think those are the ones that I'll be bringing to the next meeting, or the SAO will bring to the next meeting.
Thank you, Acting SAO. Human Resources.
So I think one of the bigger things here is just one of the capital project ongoing with our HR services. We're kind of coming to the close on that. So the SAO will have more to bring to you at the following meeting likely. So a report to go over where we sit with our job evaluations. We were due to have all of our jobs evaluated in 2024 as part of the collective agreement, and we've worked through that quite diligently. And much of that has been through the help of the HR contractor. We've updated job descriptions, updating the org charts. So that'll be something then that, again, the SAO can bring once it's completed. And then not bylaws, but some policies that'll also be coming to the bylaw and policy review committee, and some different documents around onboarding and employee handbooks and all kind of these things that are the standard that we're working towards. And one of the biggest, I think, wins that we've seen is in having someone in that role for us. The amount of funding opportunities that they've been able to pursue for us around new hires and training. They put together an entire proposal that stands to save us close to $200,000 and actually get us up to date on some of our training with a big focus on what we're legislated to provide for our municipal services employees. So there's been a lot done, and even in my own department, being able to access funding to support staff travel and training. That's been a big one, to get pool operator courses, to get economic development training. I'm able to actually get that covered through some of these training programs, and that contract has been integral in us moving forward with that. So I know it's a big investment that we made, but it's really saved us some money in other areas. So when we end up looking at the cost and return on that, it's been extensive. So that's my little update.
Thank you. Communications? Anything on communications?
I think this is one where the SAO is still trying to meet with the communications committee. So I haven't been able to kind of move that any further along. I think that's something that she'll continue with once she returns.
Bylaw Review Committee. Post-Secondary Education Committee. Counselor Couverture.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A bit of an update. I will be sending out a request for the Post-Secondary Education Committee to meet in the next week or so. The biggest thing that has happened in the last, well, it was announced late last week, is the Board of Governors and the Minister have said that they're putting a pause on the transition of the college to a polytechnic university, which is really interesting. The amount of resources that the government expended on the transition team and everything else, and all of a sudden, you would think that they would try to realize some return on that investment by continuing on with the process. But I think as a counselor, one of my big concerns is, first of all, is asking the Board of Governors and or the minister to provide us with an update on the programming status within the college. They've had, they were supposed to be launching the Bachelor of Education program this fall, and also a social services program. I don't know if it was a bachelor or degree or whatever. Both of those have been delayed because of the running into accreditation issues and things like that. Every time I walk through the campus, and I usually try and get in there about every 2 weeks, I'm still really disappointed about the utilization. You could fire a cannon down the main hallway and not worry about hitting a damn thing other than the end wall. There's just very little activity in there. Here it is, one of their prime campuses, and there's really no evidence that they're doing programming there. So what's all this talk about new campus in Yellowknife when they're not using the one here or the one in Inuvik? There was a report out that they did a survey of the campus in Inuvik, and there was 23 students. And I don't think ours is a little better. They do have some programming, some programs that they're doing, but I think they really need to up their game and start using these campuses. And they're putting money out, renting leasing space in Northern United place in Yellowknife, which is closed half the time because of boiler issues or other issues. So why not look at filling this campus? Having, if it means a couple hundred students in town, great. There'll be an economic boom for us. And this dire talk of everything going to hell, well, here you have a beautiful campus. Let's make sure it's used. And we might have an opportunity. I heard over the weekend that the Board of Governors are supposed to be in town later this week, and if so, I think I would really like to see either the mayor or the Post-Secondary Education Committee sit down, have a quick chat with them, and try and get some more of a lowdown on what is the future of the college versus a university. And that's it for post-secondary education.
Thank you, Councillor Couverture. Any further discussion? Seeing none. And TPC Intervention Committee. Councillor Couverture.
Thank you. Just for public information, back in mid-May, the NTPC filed a general rate application to increase electrical rates across the NWT. In this new application, it looks like they're asking for about a 4.6% increase on the Tolson system. That'll work out to a couple cents a kilowatt for Fort Smith. As part of the general rate application, the town of Fort Smith has filed to be an intervener so that we can present arguments and things like this and ask some very important questions, such as what does it actually cost to produce power from the Tolson system? And are we, as users of that system, paying a premium, i.e. subsidizing other areas of the NWT? If we are, it's fine and dandy, but let us know how much. Like, are we, numbers I've heard is it costs them between 3 and 4 cents a kilowatt to produce power at the Tolson. Why are we paying friggin' 26 cents a kilowatt if that's the truth? So part of our application will be asking for them to provide a full cost analysis of what it costs us to produce power from the Tulsa system and include all the like distribution costs and all of that so that we get a realistic rate of what power, the cost of power from the Tulsa should be. So as an intervener, we are able to ask those questions, and as part of under the Public Utilities Act, we will be reimbursed any cost of us, any costs associated with us being an intervener.
Thank you, Councillor Coover. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, moving on. Director's report. SAO?
So this one's fairly short and sweet if anyone has any questions. And the only other thing I'd like to add to it is just that we're still working to get the finalized audit. So the reason you haven't seen that is it still hasn't been finalized. So then once the auditors have completed that, they will, as in previous years, do a presentation. So we're still waiting on seeing it as well, and we'll be able to share it once we have the finalized document. Are there any other questions about the director's report?
Seeing none, moving on to the accounts paid list. Any discussion? Moving on to license report. Moving on to administration. SAO?
Yeah, so it's a fairly short. I don't really have anything at this point past what the director's report was. So hopefully keep it a little short and sweet.
Thank you. Councillor Pistinger.
Yes, just looking at the director's report. So are we ready for the June 27th property tax auction?
SAO?
Almost. So one of the last things that has to be done is the listing and the advertising of it. So that will be happening shortly. And then that will be completed. So it'll be, hopefully it gives people time to still get off of the arrears list if necessary. But we are on schedule to hold it that date. So we'll be advertising it. I have to get the exact date from the director, but he has his schedule for advertising and then completing the auction.
Thank you. Any questions under the license report for May 2024? Nothing. Administration, other business, nothing. Excusing councillors.
I move that Deputy Mayor Kroll, Councillor Ferguson, and Councillor Campbell be excused from the Corporate Services Standing Committee meeting on June 4th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor? Passed unanimously.
I move the meeting be adjourned at 8:55 PM.
I'll second that.
All in favor? So carried.